As the official healthcare provider of Minnesota United, Allina Health is dedicated to delivering pro-level care for our Loons. But the partnership goes much deeper than what happens on the field. From our shared support of youth-focused nonprofits like Roots for the Home Team, to championing programs for adaptive athletes with the MNUFC Power Soccer Team, Allina Health and Minnesota United are committed to providing an altogether better experience for Loons fans. Learn more at allinahealth.org/loons. Welcome back to another episode of Sound of the Loons podcast. I am your host, Zarek Valentine, and I am here with none other than the Kiwi commander, the captain of your Loons, Michael Boxall. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Zarek.
I'm happy
to be here.
Thank you
for getting me on finally.
I know. You've been a very, very busy man, scoring goals, doing everything like that. How you been?
I'm good. Yeah. Waiting for this April weather to turn into spring, and then, yeah, I'm feeling good.
Is this season, is this normal? Or no? Because this seems pretty like it's still pretty darn cold outside.
I mean, I think it is normal. I think I have a short memory where it's like you experience the weeks where it's been like 20 Celsius, 70 degrees. And you're like, okay, summer's on its way. And then you go 3 steps back and you're just in the miserable wet and cold. But looking back to previous winters, usually it's like May 1st is usually like, okay, we're past it.
We're finally in the clear.
When we're kind of teased with that warmer weather, and I mean February and March we had some good weeks, and then those are bonuses, and then but this is
it's been
par for the course
because it's been snowing 2 inches and then it's fine, and then it snows 2 inches, but it's just been really, really cold.
Yeah.
And again, I think not playing is worse. Just watching you guys is terrible.
Yeah, because you're not moving, but hey, the summers make it worth it, you know. The summers make it worth it.
Spoken like a true Minnesotan. So let's jump right into it. Congratulations in order officially for qualifying for the World Cup. How does that feel? Because we had spoken about this when I first got into Minnesota back in 2023. And now fast forward, we finally achieved this. How does that feel? Like, try to sum it up. I know it's obviously, is this the first time New Zealand's made the World Cup?
No, it's our third time.
Third time.
Once before I was born, 2010 in South Africa, they were there. And then this is the third
But still, it's a monumental thing. So how does it feel to score the game-winning goal to help your country qualify? I know, obviously, we put a lot of talk about that, but genuinely, how does that feel?
I think, more relief because that was like, we were like heavy favorites.
Yeah.
It was 0-0 after 50 or 60 minutes.
Yeah.
And then, those games where you're meant to win.
Yeah.
The longer they go on, the more kind of pressure intensity builds. So it was a bit of relief when it went in, but then just to see like all my teammates and how the crowd reacted, that was pretty cool. And then I think when you rewind it back to the 2021 playoff against Costa Rica, it was largely that whole same group where we had a goal disallowed with VAR and lost to Costa Rica in that playoff 1-0. So to kind of carry on with that group and kind of get us there was, pretty cool.
That's awesome. And you're one of the most senior players, someone who's been around. What's it like to, I'm not going to say put the team on your back, but to score that goal? Because it's definitely something as a senior player, someone who's been through the ups and the downs with the federation, some high moments, some tough moments, and to finally be on the end where, you deserve so much throughout your incredible career, to where you're going to get some of these cool moments to look back on with Maxwell and with Bo and your family, and to really kind of relish. How's that feel?
Yeah, definitely one of the senior members on that team, but like pretty much 5 minutes before I scored, Chris Wood went off injured. So I think there was like a kind of a collective groan around the stadium about where the goal was going to come from. So it was a set piece. And I think when I look back on it in a few years, maybe I'll appreciate it more than I do right now. It was kind of just like I don't know. It just happened to be the right time, right place at the right time kind of thing. But I mean, as I said before, it's just seeing everyone else, how happy and excited they were was kind of a better feeling for me than me actually scoring.
You like giving gifts as opposed to receiving gifts.
For sure.
Yes.
And then plus my phone, I got so many messages from like I don't want that. Like you know, just all the just being on your phone non-stop replying to people because I'm like, I don't want to score any more goals. If that's what the treatment is, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think with great power comes great responsibility, as Peter Parker's uncle said to him. But I think for me, and getting to know you this short amount of time, I'm really happy that you're able to have that moment. And to be honest, you probably haven't processed it yet. And you'll look back and go, man, like I actually lived through this and was a part of something pretty cool. And the photo that you might have and the jersey that you might have. And the pictures really they show a little bit of the emotion that I think is not normally just how you are. You're not the most emotional person, but I think in that moment, I think there's a good picture that I saw online where it's like, you can see what it means in that moment and kind of getting caught up in a little bit. And then obviously you got to snap back in. Game's not over. It's not a walk-off.
I think my personality is like, I don't really, rest on those moments. I'm like, okay, what's next? How do I, the next thing, how do I get better? When's the next training session kind of thing? Because it's, I feel like the moment I do, it's like, okay, I stall or stagnate. And then I think once I do it at my age, it's get going again. It's tough.
But I think, but credit to you though, because you know, there was a piece that put out and, you know, obviously a lot of the fans take in some of the content about just how you've been able to maintain your body. And it's interesting because I remember being really nervous when I came in and we sat next to each other in the locker room for 2 years. And I was asking you, hey, you know, I'm doing Sean Buckley's training regimen. It's a little bit not what I'm used to. And you were saying, oh, I do my own thing because I am so well in tune with my body and how to prepare and stuff. Is that something that's just accumulated over time or something when you just talk about the work, or is it comfort, or, you know, how do you look at the work you put in on a daily basis that fans and that even your family and the majority of people don't see?
I mean, it took me a while to kind of get there, probably not until I was 28, 29-ish when I think when I came back to the MLS with Minnesota, and I had a decent enough off season where I could actually spend a good amount of time in the gym and on the track, kind of running and building that up. And that was when I came back from that off season was the first time I like really noticed the difference. Like preseason was easy. And
this was the Adrian track
preseasons, which they're tough, but I was like, I got through that fine. And then, I mean, I virtually played, a ton of games. I travel a bunch with the national team, go back-to-back 90 minutes, and it's throughout the years, I've picked up bits and pieces that I know work for me, and then just added on to those, and still slowly ticking along.
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously you're not losing a step. You're still arguably one of the fastest guys on the team, even though I got into an argument with an unnamed player about that.
I know who that is right away.
I got into an argument, but clearly you've developed some sort of a rhythm, obviously. And how much of just the day-to-day is mental for you as opposed to the physical side? Because it's, you know, mental health and all this stuff has come in, but you're a very steady person on the pitch, off the pitch. How much of your daily preparation with the national team or with the club team is just, you know, kind of just making sure you're right up here and then you can go out and then execute your job?
I would say a large amount is, but it's kind of subconscious. I think definitely in the last, 7-8 years, I've cared a lot less about the things that don't matter. Like there's so many things earlier on in your career you think they matter.
Like what? Or any examples?
I mean, it's a lot of like, there's very few people's opinions that really affect how you should approach your day. So, I mean, outside of football, I have less than a handful of friends that I'm like, been with since like high school. So I'm like, those are people I just bounce off when I'm away from the field. But yeah, obviously as this league has grown, the kind of attention is a lot more attention has come to it, and you don't. And I've still managed to shut up. Like, I'm not ever reading articles. I'm not on any of like the club like social media, seeing what are these people saying about me? What's whether it's good or bad. I feel like it's kind of useless to me. So I kind of, as soon as I step off the field, I operate in this world where it's pretty much just my handful of friends and my family that I'm
No, you're old school.
Yeah,
you're an old soul. But I think that also helps protect the longevity of a lot of players, because players get drawn into social media these days,
sure.
and it dictates things. And you see people, and I've seen it in the locker room, and I've been victim to it at times, where good result, bad result, more goods than not, you immediately check in the comments. Ooh, who said I played well and stuff? And then obviously you might get drawn in there on the negative side of things, and that really starts to play with people's heads, because they're almost like playing for validation and making sure that they check it when it's good. They don't check it when it's bad, because they know how it looks. And that's just, for me, again, that's something that is a lot easier said than done.
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking of as if I'm like, a monk. But there's sometimes you see it kind of, it's unavoidable when somebody tags you in some stupid stuff, and but for the most part, just stay away from that.
That's awesome. And then so before we leave the national team picture and get to some of the club stuff, what has been one of the biggest differences between international football and club football? And I've played a little bit of it, not in some Gold Cup qualifiers and some Caribbean CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers, but not against some of the competition that you guys have played against. I think I just heard you out there. You're playing Ivory Coast in the summer.
Ivory Coast and Ukraine in June.
Yeah, so. I mean, that's a little different than when we played the Bahamas and Cayman Islands. No disrespect to them, but it's different levels of opponents and different footballing cultures. But what has been some of the differences? Whether it's tactics, whether it's the weight of the games, whether it's just even the national pride, what has been something that you've seen in your own world that separate the two?
I think at club level, because the quality between the two teams is usually pretty similar. It's like you're trying to stamp your identity on the game and play your style. Whereas with the national team, especially when you're coming against stronger teams, you're the one that has to adapt a bit. Yeah. So I think having that adaptability, and you come across so many different styles of play. I'll play against different types of nines: fast, strong, big, small, tricky.
What's fast to you? Like lightning is fast.
I mean, like quick, like super dynamic, like agile. Yeah, they're the tough ones for me to deal with. So I think because I'm exposed to that on the national level, I think that keeps me mentally and physically like, I need to be on it today, otherwise I'm dropping off. And then I think that doing that helps me for the club level, just keeping me honest.
Okay. And then how's your role? Obviously here, big role on and off the pitch, captain's armband, leading the troops. I've seen it. I've been a part of it. In there, I know you've captained some games, not all the games, but is it similar, or since you don't see the guys on a daily basis, maybe it's not. Maybe the impact isn't the same.
I think it's similar. I think at Minnesota United, I've been lucky that every season we've had older, experienced guys who are leaders and who are quite vocal. That I wouldn't say I take a back seat, but I don't need to be the most vocal person out there. We've got other people that can do that, and then I can lead by example and just be consistent with my performance and intensity, which kind of I like to think can help drive the standard that that everyone can kind of meet. And I think it's probably similar with the national team. We have obviously Chris Wood at Nottingham Forest. We've got, and then there's like a bit of a gap between some of the younger guys who a lot of talent coming through, but they are a bit younger, where you want their talent to shine, but you don't want them to look up. I don't want them looking up to me like, okay, there's like an imposing figure. Like, I'm not that guy. I'd just like to get along with the boys, have a good time, but also compete as well.
At Target, we're ready to cheer with the hometown fans and gear you up for an epic season. Whether watching from the stands or your living room, score big on game day with everything you need for the win. We're here to be your home field advantage at Target and Target.com. Yeah. And I can echo some of those statements as someone who was the loud guy in the locker room. I think you find you're a very good, comfortable place where you're very true to yourself, and you're not necessarily, speaking out of sorts. Because sometimes when you see people, you can spot BS from a mile away and you can smell it. And I think that when you see people who are quiet try to speak up, or people who speak up, try to just act like blend in, I think you can figure that out pretty quickly. And I think you've treaded a really good way to make your voice and make your points very poignant and heard. And I think about you compared to someone like Diego Chara, very quiet spoken, but goes out, does a job. You can feel them in the pitch. They have the relationship with the referees. They're, they lead by example on the pitch, and they're not the guy hosting the podcast, but you seem to be very true to yourself. So I can definitely speak to that. And then the last part about the national team before we go, the travel must be nuts. And I don't know if you've ever gone on record and spoke about it much, but obviously Puerto Rico is still a 3-hour flight. They have direct flight from MSP to San Juan. Take us into just a little bit of some of this travel you get to New Zealand.
Yeah, we get some brutal. I think the worst ones of when, I'm tough seeing me go through another World Cup cycle again. So I think it's in the past, but when we travel to like the Pacific Islands, where sometimes there's only 2 or 3 flights a week from Auckland to those places, it can take, door to door, like 40 hours. But this last international window was probably a perfect example of the nightmares you can get in travel. So it was like Minnesota to San Francisco, my flight gets delayed, then I have to stop in Denver because there's like bad weather. Then I get to San Francisco like 10 minutes too late, miss my connection. I'm there for 24 hours.
Oh, that's right, because we were going to have you on last week. That's right.
And then, no, this was before I got to New Zealand.
Oh, there you go. Even more fun.
So I arrived in New Zealand a day late on the Wednesday afternoon, play the Friday night.
Yeah.
And then I played the Monday night, qualify for the World Cup. Then meant to come back here and arrive back on the Wednesday. My flight gets cancelled out of New Zealand, and then they try to reroute me through Australia and Canada to come back here. And it was not fun.
We made it. We did it. Yeah, that's, I can't even imagine. I know my first season, Bongi had some wild travel.
Oh, yeah.
When he had to go, it was, I think it was Johannesburg to, the northern tip of Africa, and then all the way to Frankfurt, Germany, and back.
Something crazy. I remember Romain had some wild stories too, trying to get to Madagascar. Was like, I'm like, bro, what
a little boat. All right. Well, fast forwarding, to the team, we've played a few games. We've lost to LAFC. We won 2, and then had some tough draws for a little bit. We were with some late goals into the Salt Lake game. What are your initial just takes on the season? Even first full preseason with Coach Ramsey. What are your just initial takes on the season so far?
I think the first 3 games was felt like a continuation from where we were the last 2-3 months of last season, where defensively everyone's on the same page. We got a great base to build on and a dynamic front, 3 or 4 players who can create goal chances out of almost nothing. So we carried on that identity, and then I think we're up 3-0 with half an hour to go in Kansas City, and I think we just got a big reminder of that no matter what the circumstances are, we need to keep our heads and stick to what we do. No matter we're down 1-0, we're up 2-3-0, we need to stick that identity and keep ourselves honest. And I think it's good to have a reminder this early in the season so that we can keep pushing forward and make sure we don't we don't let any complacency creep in. Yeah,
having a warning shot this early in the season is not a bad thing. Sometimes you have to go, you get them later in the season, but to have one of those early in the season is good. And as a leader, I've been on some of those games sadly as well. How do you help lead the group in that time? Is it we get our heads down and we go? Do you have some tough conversations? Because I've been a part of teams where I've seen guys basically get into fights, and I never thought that was conducive to a positive environment in the long run. Obviously, emotions are flying, but as a leader, what do you think you can do, or what did you do? Because I wasn't on the trip, just to maybe say, let's take a deep breath, let's analyze it and get back. And maybe I answered the question for you, but how do you approach difficult moments as a leader within this team?
I think there's a couple of approaches. I think when the first 1 or 2 slip in, you need to you think everyone's slacking, not doing their jobs, but you need to take a step back and think. I know that's not the case with the guys here, and I think it was just in that game where we had made quite a few changes off the bench, and it was just you guys in different roles, just kind of getting into the game again. So I think it's more of in those moments, more of a time. It's like, okay, if we can take our time on our set pieces, okay, Dane, like slow down the restart, make sure everyone's set for every little thing, so that the moments with the players coming onto the field, they're coming into like familiar moments to them that we've worked on the training pitch every day. So I think just making those familiar and then build on that from there. But yeah, obviously something in a game, there's a million things going on at once, and you don't always get it right. And obviously we didn't get it right that day, but you got to take the lessons from that.
So you're saying try to maintain as much control over a chaotic situation as possible.
Yes.
In a sense, as much as you can.
Yeah. You make it sound a lot more concise and smarter than I could.
Well, you gave a great answer. I'm just trying to sum it up as if that's what I heard.
That's pretty spot on.
And I think I can echo that as you can only control what you can control. And especially in a tough place to play away from home, it's not easy, right? Because everything's against you.
Yeah.
And when you kind of get in these situations, you can kind of spiral relatively quickly. But if you can maintain that control, then you feel as if you're more comfortable because we might have trained it, we might have been there, we might have done that.
Yeah, mate, that's bang on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So obviously we got a win last weekend. Everyone's back. Just looking forward to this weekend and just the season in general. Wrapping up here. What are some of the expectations? What are your hopes this season? You accomplished one of your big goals with the national team. Is great. So, what are you just looking forward to this season as you continue to just grow as a player, grow as a leader within this team, and just continue to just grow as just a person as well?
I mean, I don't like to look forward to like September, October and kind of see where we are, but I think when you look at the last, what have we gone, 6 games? Like 11 points from 6 games is almost, 2 points a game, which is kind of, you want 2 points a game is going to put you at near the top of the table. So I think it's like more of the same. So I think if we just kind of keep our heads steady and approach each day with the right intensity and focus, and like just take it one, like it's so cliche, but it's just literally one game at a time, one day at a time. And
cliches there's a reason they're cliches.
Yeah, but if we just keep doing that, then we just keep stacking weeks, stacking months, then we'll be, I think, hosting the first round playoff games.
Hopefully, the ship's going in a good direction.
Yeah.
By no means we had some tough results, but by no means do we need to go off course. We just have to keep maintaining. Well, first off, thank you so much for joining. I cannot leave without referencing something golf related. Just real quick, what's the next golf purchase? Is it an iron? Because I need to get a new wedge personally. I need to get a new 54 because mine's pretty old and the grooves are pretty dull, so I need to get a new 54. Probably go with the Vokey ones. We'll see. What is the next purchase? Could be a bag, could be anything.
I think I have to come with you and get the Vokey SM10s.
Yes.
Because I've got a 48, a 50, 56, and a 60, and I want to put those 4 clubs into like 3. Yeah. So if I can carry one less club on my bag, I'll be happy.
Love that.
Yeah, need to get a fitting when we can play on grass outside. Hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon. Yeah, I got the SM10 with the 60, and I was nice. This thing's awesome. So I'm probably gonna get a 54 in it. It's lovely. But again, thank you so much for joining the podcast. It's been a pleasure to be on the other side of things and to see you work as a professional. Obviously, was fortunate enough to play next to you a bunch of games, sit next to you in the locker room for a while. We had some good chats along the way. But again, thank you so much for joining the podcast on Sound of the Loons, brought to you by Line of Health. Hopefully you'll come back in a little bit, maybe one of these days, maybe one more time.
Yeah, that was fun. I'll come back again. But no, I definitely miss you beside me in the locker room. But hey, to see you shine and what you're good at is really cool to see as well. So,
thanks, man. I appreciate it. We'll tune in next time.